to be enough to start this. We are just about live on YouTube, waiting to see it. And there we are. Welcome to the NBA DFS Strategy Show. I am Josh Engleman, and I am not on the screen right now. Joining me is Dave Loughran.
I have not seen this yet. I'm completely in the dark, as are all of you. The reveal will happen with all of us together, and it's going to be a wonderful day.
Yes. Only person that's seen this is Adam at this point.
Yeah.
Because I know that he wouldn't watch the show.
So before we do this, and we'll get into it, what was the experience like yesterday?
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I went in. The gentleman that hooked me up was quite nice. So shout out to Beal Street Barbershop in Wilmington. I got multiple lavender scented hot towels.
Okay.
People are watching the Contenders video now, which is also out, but that's fine. So I got multiple lavender scented towels, bunch of face lotion and such. It was fantastic. So my beard was kind of long. He was like, I can't just do this with the razor out of the gate. Like, I got to take most of it off first. So in a matter of like 15 seconds, it was just already a mustache. And I was like, oh, that came quickly.
And you're watching yourself in the mirror as this is happening.
I was like, uh-oh. I don't hate it. So it was great
Adam,
experience. Couldn't be happier.
On the deeper dive, when I asked, that's not true. On the deeper dive, when I asked Adam what it looked like, he said, if your college had a hockey team, just picture the douchiest player on the team.
Yes.
So you want to do it?
Let's do it. Here we go. You ready?
3, 2, 1, do it. Oh, yes. Let me be honest with you. It's not as bad as I thought.
I told you, right?
It's not as bad as I thought. In a really strange way, you kind of can pull it off. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as I ever expected it to be.
Oh, that's just spectacular. Here he is. You're a good sport, man. You pay your dues. You pay your bet.
Where you at, Miles? Where's your $1,000?
Yeah.
I got a mustache. Man. I lit my insides on fire.
You did it.
Josh is a 70s cop. I told my wife last night, I was like, you might want to tune in and watch the chat because it's basically going to be a 30-minute roast.
Now, did you...
Old school Howard Stern, Little League coach. He looks like Shia LaBeouf. Freddie Mercury has returned. Narcos Season 3 starring Josh Engleman. It's Luigi.
Did you so what did you explain to the guy as you walk in there?
So I told him on the phone that I had lost the bet and I need to leave a mustache.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, well, what did you bet on? I was like, just like a generic sports bet that was like a 50-50 proposition even when we did it. Oh, fair enough.
Oh, it's incredible.
I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it.
It could have been a lot worse.
It really
you look like a cop.
Cool.
You know who you look like? You look like
I look like I'd be on Super Troopers.
That's the one. What's the guy's name for Super Troopers? The Hispanic guy.
Is he Hispanic?
You know what I'm talking about. I thought he was Hispanic, yeah.
I think Steve, maybe? I know what you mean.
You look like Farva.
Wait. One large Farva. He looks like Peter Griffin. Come on now. So this I did tell you in chat. It was raining pretty aggressively yesterday, and I had to stop at the grocery.
Yeah, this is great.
I had to stop at the grocery store immediately after getting the shave. So I pull into the grocery store, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be outside all that long. So I hop out of the car and just take off towards the grocery store to get out of the rain. Immediately running at a mother and 2 like 4-year-old children. It couldn't have been better. Only people that were outside, and they were just standing there, and I was running directly at them.
Oh man, you can't beat it. And this was immediately after you got this.
Yeah, like I went from shave into my car directly to the grocery store. 10 minutes tops.
You know what's funny? If I saw somebody with that mustache, here's what I would think.
Skinny Ron Jeremy. I'll take it.
Yeah, well, the mustache is the only thing you have in common.
Yeah,
So
no. I got the never mind.
If I saw you just walking down the street, I would think you were in art school.
Great.
You were just your average everyday 21st century hipster.
Yeah, the wife said hipster yesterday. I was like, that's not the vibe I'm going for.
If you walked through parts of like Center City, Philadelphia, you would fit right in.
Great. DFS Whisperer says, I hate that entire city now. Rick Rude without the long hair. I love it, man. That's the first thing that I thought yesterday. Was
you like it?
Rick Rude. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
It could be worse.
It could have been way worse.
Oh yeah. This could be like I said to you, I actually am glad that you're not incredibly embarrassed to leave. So when you have to leave the house today, let's say you have to go somewhere, right? Fortunately, you work from home.
Yes.
You got to go somewhere and you walk out into public. Are you uncomfortable?
No, not at all.
No. So like you go up, you gotta get gas, but you have to go in and you have to pay them. Actually, being embarrassed in front of a gas station attendant isn't exactly something that would come to fruition for Josh Engleman, same man who won't pick $400 off the ground. So you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I'll probably have it for a while.
Bullshit. Now you're just.
I will say this much: I won't shave it off at the end of the week.
Okay. Really?
No.
So you will trim it and let the rest grow in.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the plan.
Yeah. For now, at least. I might just keep shaving the sides and leave the mustache. I don't care. I don't
think I would either, but it is. I mean, this is a bet that anyone. The funny thing is, so many people are just, and I'm the same way. I look so dumb without facial hair. Like I might look better with a mustache than with nothing. So.
Oh man, the Ned Flanders comp. I wish I would have wore a green.
The
sweater.
Ned Flanders one is good. You know what else I was thinking?
Matt Dillon and Something About Mary. I like.
You know, We're the Millers. The movie We're the Millers.
Yes. Jennifer Aniston.
Yes. Oh my God. By the way, whew. It's amazing that she's like 52 or whatever now.
It is.
But you look like the guy the guy that they meet that has the RV with the wife that says, "I need some tampons." The DEA. He's a DEA agent.
Is that why I say tampons? I guess it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Weird. Wouldn't have thought that would have stuck. Josh looks like Dirk Diggler. I'll take it.
By the way, can we point out
Adam Morrison Gonzaga? Come on, man. This is way better than Adam Morrison's mustache was.
The most remarkable aspect of all of this is that last night, for the first time since January 20th, right? Almost 2 months. Well, a month and a half. The Sixers won their first road game.
They're going to win out. They're going to win out.
I feel like they might.
I'm going to lose it by a half game.
So were you mathematically eliminated, just to be sure?
I don't know. I think so.
Could you
would that
imagine?
Be some shit?
Well, hey, you like it, so it's
worth it. Well worth it. Okay, so they lost to the Lakers, and then they beat the Kings.
They'd have to win.
Yeah. I'm mathematically eliminated. Best I could do is 11 wins. With 4% of the time, I get all the way to 11.
How many losses do they have? 12.
Since we made the bet.
Yeah.
Since we made the bet, they're 3-12.
Oh my God! So they need to win their last 8 road games to even come within one game of 500.
Yes. Yeah. Warriors are next. Hornets, Timberwolves, Bulls, Wizards.
Oh my God, it's doable. Oh my God.
Spurs, Pelicans, Grizzlies.
It's doable.
Yeah.
Man, you just needed like 2 of those games.
Oh, like beat the Hawks in Atlanta, beat the Cavs in Cleveland. Yeah, what? If only. If they would have beat the Hawks and beat the Cavs, I would be 80-20 for a mustache, which is better than 0% chance.
We got a off-brand Burt Reynolds as one on Twitter.
That's fair. By the way, guys, I just took a look right now. 360 people, 60 likes. That's not good enough for the mustache day. We need some thumbs up here.
How about this? Alex on Twitter says, I actually like it.
See?
And then Josh Edwards beneath him says he looks like he still dates high school girls.
If only. If only.
It's good stuff. Derek Phillips says, good thing my wife and mom aren't on Twitter, and a gift that says hot damn. How about that, Josh?
What's your mom look like?
Moving up in the world.
Definitely a stripper cop at bachelor parties. Yeah, they would be wildly let down.
On so many levels.
For real. I'm shocked how much I don't hate it.
It could be way worse. The Tom Selleck comp is a good one.
So my dad looks like Tom Selleck, or at least did at my age. Like my age now, my dad had a mustache, but he was able to grow it in all thick and black like a real human being, unlike his son. I mean, like same hair, same everything. I'll have to get a picture of my dad with the mustache from like 1990, because you'll be like, that look like. I mean, he like looks like him.
Does he still have a stash?
No, he's got a goatee now, and he's like gray.
I was gonna say you need to fly back to Pennsylvania, to your central Pennsylvania mining town, and get a picture next to him with the mustache.
I sent them.
By the way, Josh is not from a central Pennsylvania mining town.
It is a very much coal mining town. Is it?
Yeah, your population's like 7.
Yeah, way less coal mine, or way less central than you're claiming. If you want to buy a house there, if you want to get on some real estate, you can get a house
$7,000.
Yeah, 10 grand. Wish I were kidding.
That's crazy.
Wish I were kidding.
How about this? Even Jazz Raz, our boy Ben Rasa, he says it's really not that bad, Josh. You kind of look like a rejected actor in a new Inspector. What's Clouseau? Clouseau? Is that like Inspector Gadget? Pink
Inspector
Panther.
Clouseau, man. Clouseau.
What?
Clouseau.
What's Inspector Clouseau?
Oh God, Laffy.
What is it?
Just Google it.
No, just tell me what it is.
It's the guy from the Pink Panther.
Oh, I've never seen it. No interest.
Da-da, 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 da-da. No.
I mean, I know the Pink Panther theme song, yes.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I've got a little bit more culture now. I've got a mustache.
Yeah, that's damn right. I'm surprised you don't have like a Starbucks or a latte.
Honestly, if I didn't we're trying to cut back. We've been spending a lot of money at Starbucks as of late. So normally I would have, and those egg bites are expensive when you eat multiple servings.
Wendy's has breakfast now.
Oh yeah, I'm straight up bacon Gruyere egg bites at Starbucks. They'll probably give them to me for free. No,
you know what? You deserve that mustache.
I do. I take that as a compliment.
You deserve.
I deserve it because I look fantastic. If someone tuned in right now, they would just assume that like I always look like this. It's so not as jarring as it seems.
People cannot believe that I've never seen a Pink Panther movie. But
to be fair, neither have I.
You just know who Inspector Clouseau is?
Yes. I could also read. Rodwell Green says, remove the hat. Nah. Hair's wild.
Can you do it? Yo, can you do it just for 30 seconds?
I'm like, yeah, but my hair is just like hat head from 2 days.
It's all right. Just do it.
I hate everybody.
Just close it out. Oh, it looks fine.
It's just, like it's ratty hat head.
You 100% have the hips. No, that's great. That is too good.
How's that, guys? There's your screen grab.
That is too good. Oh man. It's like those early 2000 like, remember that movie Loser?
Yeah. Do I remember it? Shit.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
You remind me of the people, like the assholes from that movie. I know you know what I'm talking about too.
Assholes from that movie.
I don't even think he had a mustache. It just has that look.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Ah, man.
Anyway.
Jason Biggs should have been bigger, brother. All right. Reactions to my hair now are probably coming in too. He looks like he wears Jinko jeans and a wallet chain.
That's so true. That's what I was saying. It does. It is. It's like that was the Jenko look for sure. Oh, that's great.
I didn't have that. I didn't have that look. I was like a Tommy Hilfiger guy.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Did you rock Tim's?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a skateboard. I had the DCs,
No, I was appropriating something that was not mine.
Nike had skateboarding shoes back then that were sick.
No, I was Nike's, Hilfiger jeans, some sort of sports regalia. I mean, pretty much exactly like what I wear now, only instead of jeans, I wear sweatpants constantly.
Well, this is fun, man.
It is.
I wear sweatpants way too often. Yeah, I mean,
where is Josh brewing his craft beer?
That's so good. This is why we have the greatest viewers in the world, because they're quick-witted, man. They have some good stuff. Like the one day when your hair was whatever, I didn't think it was that bad, but the comments that day were I couldn't breathe.
No, it's just fantastic. We got great viewers, man.
Yeah, Cantor said, was going to say, looks like he'd be wearing Airwalks.
I can do without the Napoleon Dynamite's brother comps. Ooh, I'll take the Cody Rhodes, Anthony. That'll work.
You actually don't look that bad. I'm serious. I would tell you too, right? Like I would love to rub this in much worse. Yeah. It doesn't look that bad.
No. The moment I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to catch much flack.
Not that bad.
Odds that Josh is going to meet Chris Hansen in the next 24 hours. Why don't you take a seat? I look younger. Woo!
What? Why don't you take a seat?
Why
don't you have a seat over there? I'm Chris Hansen. The South Park episode of that, by the way.
Oh, incredible. Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't have to do this and eat the chip at the same time. That would be not great.
That would be humiliation.
Yeah.
Pure humiliation. You did well, though, man. And I like that you went to a spa and treated yourself a little bit.
Yeah. I got the full treatment, man. Gave that gentleman a nice tip as well. He did a lot of work.
Good. He deserved it.
He did. I'm proud of it, man. I'm proud of it. I paid my bets off.
So you didn't get your hair cut while you were in there?
No. I got a haircut the day before, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I go to the same salon my wife goes to for my haircuts.
What do you say we start talking some basketball? We got 10 games, and as the comments roll in, we'll be sure to keep hitting on them.
That works. Let me there we go. Got us into our normal view. I'll be honest, when I opened up the streaming software to record Contenders this morning and I saw myself in that box for the first time, I laughed. Like, it took me like 5 minutes to get started. So there we are. A young Ron Burgundy. I'll take it, and I'll probably read anything that comes into the teleprompter too.
That's not terrible.
No, I'll take it. Oh, that last picture in Slack is rough.
Yeah, it's very rough.
Super true, but also pretty rough.
I mean, you got to get rid of that.
I love this. I don't recognize myself when I look over, and then I'm just like, oh, who's that handsome man with a mustache?
And the forwards hat today.
Yeah, I got to show it off. Rough day for Liverpool. Goalkeeper picked up a knock. Going to be out for the Champions League game against Atletico Madrid. That's going to be pretty rough, so a little nervous.
I wouldn't know.
All right, well, you want to dive into this slate?
Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. 10 gamer, and we are starting off with a monster. But before we do that, you got to go to superdraft.io because Superdraft is the presenting sponsor of this show. Go there, Superdraft.io, as I mentioned. Use the promo code AWESEMO. Get yourself $20 in super cash on your first $100 or more deposit. You don't have to worry about salaries. Everybody's got a multiplier. We are going to be doing an extra 30 minutes on Live Before Lock tonight, myself and Chris Spags. Mustache edition of Live Before Lock and the Super Draft bonus half hour, because they are not going to be including what is an incredible Washington Wizards Atlanta Hawks game, at least from a DFS perspective, not from an actual basketball perspective. You guys got to check it out. Not having to worry about salaries, being able to roster whoever you want. It's a really interesting mechanism. They're running their, I want to make sure that I get it's a different amount every day, and I never can remember it, even when I look at it. 30K jump shot, 6K to first. It's $12 to get in, 2,800 plus entries. You're going to want to pay attention there. They've had a lot of, reduced rake, sometimes full on overlay for the contest. So check that out. Go to Superdraft. They are the presenting sponsor of this. They're the presenting sponsor of basically everything we do. So shout out to Superdraft for that.
Superdraft.
Josh, King of the North, Engleman. The King of the North.
He didn't just, he's got a thick ass beard.
Yeah. Did he have one at the beginning?
You could maybe you looked like Littlefinger.
I was just going to say that. I don't want to be him. I'd rather be Carcetti.
Carcetti, yeah. He's had some good roles.
He has. He shows up in everything. But yeah, give me Carcetti more so than Littlefinger. All right, you ready for this now for real?
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch The Wire. It's my favorite show. I haven't watched it in forever. If I go back and start it over again, if I wait long enough, maybe it'll be like new.
It'll probably feel pretty good to get back into it. You'll probably catch a lot of things that you missed.
It's one of the greatest shows ever.
It's fantastic. I haven't rewatched it in a while either. Ooh, we just got ownership 2 minutes ago, so let me grab that as well.
Sweet.
Oh, man.
By the way, there are some games today that are just in some matchups, and it's an odd slate. I did the early bird with Dan yesterday, last night, and there are a couple pieces of information, a few stats that jumped off the page at me as mind-boggling. So now that we got that out of the way, it should be a good show here.
Littlefinger was a creep. I mean, can you blame him for wanting to mac on Sansa? Chick's hot.
Not huge on Sansa.
No?
I get it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you should get it.
But not huge on Sansa.
Yeah, you're nuts.
Wildly uncomfortable when her sister had that scene, by the way. Very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you shouldn't have been, but like I get it. Also, I was.
I know I shouldn't have been. It was more so the fact that whatever.
She was like a child when that show started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
Sansa snagged a Joe bro for her.
Yeah.
I don't know
what that means.
She married a Jonas brother.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How uncultured am I?
I don't know which one's which, if it helps.
No, I don't even know how many there are.
3. I know Nick and Joe and Kevin. Yeah, I actually do know who all 3 of them are.
All right.
I do. Anyway. Washington Wizards, Atlanta Hawks. Wizards 3-point favorites at home against the Hawks. 245.5 implied total.
Crazy.
This is number 1 and number 2 in implied total for the day. It's a massive pace spot. It's bad defense. It's everything you could possibly want. We'll start on the Bradley Beal side, or on the Bradley Beal side, on the Wizard side. But I mean, that's kind of the Bradley.
Well, pretty
Beal
much the Bradley Beal side.
Yeah. So I like 2 things a lot here. Bradley Beal is at 17% on FanDuel, 14 on DraftKings. Napier is at 10% on FanDuel. No one else from the Wizards are in double digits. I love Beal and Napier. They both made my top 10 contenders. Happy to pay up for both guys. Beal's my number 2 shooting guard. Napier my number 3 point guard. They're both top 15 plays on DraftKings. I'm okay getting to punt Jerome Robinson. I'm okay getting to some Rui, some Bertans. I don't get the sense that I'd get a center, but I want way more Beal and or Napier than what we're projecting.
Might be an unpopular opinion here. And I agree with you because of what the last part of that sentence, because of what we're projecting. By the way, the total's up to 246.5. Might be an unpopular opinion, but based on ownership here, if this game does end up being incredibly popular on all sides, top, middle, bottom, you name it, I could be looking elsewhere a lot stronger. And the reason I say that is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other games with totals above 228. So while this game has a monster total, there are also a lot of other very fantasy friendly games.
Yeah.
So Bradley Beal, however, because that price tag seems to have come up, he's around 13% on DraftKings right now. I just see that as too low.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, you've got him at 16.9%. He's 10,100. Granted, it's a 10-game slate. I get that. But just take a look at what he's done. He has attempted 23-plus field goals in 13 straight games. 13 straight games for Bradley Beal. If you're talking about usage and opportunity and minutes, everything's there. The only thing that isn't there as much as others would be the peripherals. But what about the fact that he's averaging 8 assists per game over his last 4 or 5? He has been very productive. So now you've got him going up against a bottom-ranked Atlanta defense, plays one of the fastest paces in the league. It's really hard not to see him as an elite option today. And hell, 13% on DraftKings. Who knows if that comes up or down? But nevertheless, it's hard not to like a guy that since the start of February is averaging 1.5 fantasy points per minute on 38% usage and 26% assists.
Dan Strafford, that stash plays for days. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. So let's just kind of combine both of these games right now. Bradley Beal is projected for 14% ownership on DraftKings. Trey Young is $500 cheaper and at 33%. Who do you prefer?
Oh, wait, Trey Young and Beal?
Yeah. Trey Young, that's 33% owned right now.
It's a tough question. And by the way, I'm going to get to later in the show, we're going to talk about, and it's important to kind of tie all of this in. We're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo, who currently is projecting for 7%. He's expensive, sure, but that game has a 1-point spread at the Staples Center. And if you give Giannis 35 minutes in any matchup as a 1.97 DraftKings point per minute guy on the year, you best believe that he could easily crush anyone else on this slate.
Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind. I prefer Bradley Beal if they're going to be this far separated. And okay, so just to reference something for the early bird, it's important to recognize that just because a game is amazing doesn't mean that you need to have like Beal and Trey Young. Let's say Trey Young is 33%, right? Where he's at right now. Very good spot. Absolutely. But sometimes that puts the blinders on and you forget that someone like Giannis, no matter the matchup, can drop 70 on any given night. So just because Trey has a better matchup and is a little bit more less expensive, Giannis is the type of guy that it doesn't matter who he's facing. Doncic, I'm not sure if he plays. Same thing goes with him. So give me Beal here at almost a third of the ownership. To me, ownership is going to play really heavily on this slate.
Without question. There are plenty of options to go around, and ownership is going to tell a pretty massive story. What do you think of someone like Shabazz Napier being 2% owned on DraftKings?
Well, with Ish Smith already ruled out, that seems like a strange price point.
Right?
Or a strange ownership and a strange price point. He played, 26 minutes last game. They got blown out. Played 28 minutes the game before that. So if you're looking at the last one, who did they lose to? Portland, right?
I don't know.
It was, yeah. So they played Portland last time out, and they lost by 21 points. Shabazz Napier in the first quarter played 9 minutes. He played 6 in the second. So he played 15 minutes in the first half. Then he played 9 again in the third. So he was on pace for the same rotation. He would have closed this game out, but it got out of hand. They were down by 24 with 4 minutes left. He gets pulled, only plays 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. What does that tell you? Scott Brooks was giving him 30 minutes in this game. No question. It was the exact same rotation in the second as the first before the blowout. So I'm giving Napier 30 minutes against the Hawks. Yeah, I have no issues with that whatsoever.
Okay. How do you feel about the rest of these Hawks guys? Like, I don't know, Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, if that's your cup of tea. 8,400 on FanDuel, a little bit better. I just want to have bites at the apple in this game if they're unowned.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm surprised that it's getting this little ownership because, well, I guess it's not, I don't want to say it's shocking because I mentioned there are a lot of games already that project really nicely from a DFS standpoint. By the way, Tom just said that ownership is updated. Aaron Baines is not. Aaron Baines was off, so the Aaron Baines ownership was off. He said so. If you want to refresh that,
okay, cool. Thanks, Tom.
He's still up there as he should be. We'll get there much later in the show, but yeah, with the Washington ownership, you got Bradley Beal as your highest owned Wizard at 12%. Not Dwayne Dedman. Then you've got to come down to what? Rui at 7%. Napier at 4.8 on DraftKings.
It's all very minimal. Nobody on FanDuel is in double digits other than Young, Beal, and 10% owned Cam Reddish. Like, I say it a lot, but like, I'll happily get to Kevin Huerter at 5K in this matchup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have no issues with that. He's going to play big minutes. The Wizards have just been getting crushed, routinely smoked. So you look at the amount of points that they're allowing per game. They've allowed 125 plus points in regulation in 3 of their last 4. But their offense is also decent enough in many cases to stay involved. I like Napier at that ownership. I can only imagine it comes up a little bit, but I don't think Beal is overpriced. 37% usage over the last 35 days is insane. Yeah, it's going to be tough to get away from, but it seems like right now they're not really garnering much attention. And Davis Bertans is not overpriced. No. Like, you're going to get 30 minutes from him, maybe more from him. Played 29 minutes last time out against Portland, and he was another one who did not close the game out. Not to say he would have, but you get the point. Could have gotten up to 32 or so. Really strange that their ownership's so low, and maybe that's because the prices are a little bit. They're not bad, but none of them jump out at you. I bet you if Bertans was 4,900 and Napier was 4,900, you'd see something different.
Absolutely, that Napier price is the one that I like the most relative to ownership. But overall, it's Beal at 12%. I think is just crazy.
Yeah,
I love this. I want to have a lot of this game if it continues to be low owned, but we shall see as we get closer to lock. Favorite play in this game?
In the game or from the Wizards?
In this game.
It's Beal.
Okay.
On the Atlanta side, just to cover this a little bit more, because I was mostly still trying to decipher what's going on with the Wizards.
Sure.
I do really still like Trey Young. I mean,
yeah.
I think he's underpriced.
Yeah, I mean, I have him 5th overall on DraftKings right now.
Right, for sure. I'm just, making the point that with so many good high-priced players on this slate, Trey Young, by the way, we got him at 26% now on DraftKings and 22 on FanDuel. That's not crazy, but I could certainly see myself differentiating a little bit at the top because all of these guys have slate-breaking potential, not just Trey Young because he's in a good matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to have, I've got 5 Wizards in my DK player pool, 5 Hawks. I'm expecting, 7 or 8 guys on FanDuel as well with Trey Young, Kevin Huerter, Napier, Bradley Beal making up pretty sizable chunks of exposure. So Jerome Robinson, flat minimum on FanDuel. I'm intrigued by that.
So he started the second half over Bonga 2 games ago and then got 26 minutes last game.
He's not good or anything, but
no. And keep in mind, he closed that game out, meaning that Scott Brooks is viewing him as still a third-rate bench guy.
Yeah.
Because he closed it out with Peyton and Bonga and Troy Young and Wagner, or Troy Brown, Wagner, and all of the other starters were off the court. So, not a big deal, but I'm saying he didn't lose minutes to blowouts. He wasn't like on pace for 30 minutes and didn't get it.
Anything else in this one?
No, there's a lot though. This is a mix and match situation for sure. You just kind of hope that you get enough of all of these guys, because let me close it. Let me pose this question to you. We'll close it out with this. How easy is it or hard is it for you to differentiate between how much you like these guys that aren't named Beal and aren't named Trey Young? So I'm talking about, similarly priced guys, Kevin Huerter, Davis Bertans, Rui Hachimura, Shabazz Napier. All of them are in that 5K to 56 or so hundred range.
So for me, if we're talking DK, Napier stands out as the guy that I want the most in the fives. Just because I think his minutes are the most secure and could be the highest. Second, honestly, might be $4,100 Cam Reddish. Been playing a lot better as of late.
He has been, and you know what? You're finally getting reliably consistent minutes from Cam Reddish, which is pretty important. Last game, not so much, but I do feel like you've got the 30+ minute potential here for sure. They've dealt with some injuries, so pay attention to that. I don't know if it'll make a big difference. Bembry isn't somebody that, even if he played, which he is expected to, would get much run anyway. So if any.
All righty. Let's keep it moving off to Brooklyn now. Brooklyn Nets, San Antonio Spurs. Nets are 2.5-point favorites at home. This one's kind of ugly. There's not a ton to take away, but what I do like is looks like already owned. We'll start on the Brooklyn side. I basically only like two people: Caris LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie. I like LeVert quite a bit more than I like Dinwiddie. Didn't go well for him last time out, but I'm going right back to him. One of my favorite plays of the day. He was a contender. 6,700 on FanDuel, 7K on DraftKings, 1.45 multiplier on SuperDraft. Also pretty appealing. I'll have a little bit of Dinwiddie as well, but LeVert is the clear guy that I want from Brooklyn, and I don't think that I want anybody else.
Really like LeVert. And I'm surprised that his price keeps coming down. I'll also point out that Spencer Dinwiddie is on DraftKings 7,300 now. That's down from 7,800 just a couple days ago. So him and LeVert are both really affordable. I don't know if I want both in the same lineup, just because on a 10-game slate with so many high total games, it's probably not necessary, especially because I don't know how much you want from this game in total. But Caris LeVert, man, $7,000. He's going to have some off games. He's kind of always been that way. But he's also the highest usage player on the team since Irving went down. He's the best per minute fantasy producer on the team since Irving went down. He's second to Dinwiddie in assists, but he still has a 26, 27% assist rate. The numbers are all there. Everything checks out. And assuming it's close, he's going to get big minutes. Let's not forget, he got smoked by Memphis. They all did, right? Dinwiddie shot like 1 for 9. He played 27 minutes. The 2 games prior to that, he played 36. To be fair, that was an overtime game, and 35. So you're definitely getting 30+ minutes from Caris LeVert if this game is even remotely competitive. It's just too good of a spot to pass up. And I do think this could develop into a stars and scrubs slate for sure, but he's one of the mid-range guys I do like a lot.
Okay. I thought that I might get to a little bit of Jared Allen, 4,900 on FanDuel, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's like my 14th guy at that position, so I'm going to have to avoid him. It's really just LeVert and Dinwiddie. It's not a fun DFS game, all things considered.
It's not, but I do like both of them enough. I'm not looking at Dinwiddie as just LeVert as just a secondary option. I really like Caris LeVert here. And I like Dinwiddie too. The rest of this team, it's a lot less appealing. Taurean Prince probably gets 27 minutes or so against middle to bottom, actually below the middle ranked San Antonio Spurs defense. but it's just so hard to have any enthusiasm about him, especially given that Wilson Chandler, since he entered this rotation months ago, has really siphoned minutes away from him. So if Prince was getting the 30 plus at that price, I'd be interested. It's just Dinwiddie and LeVert for me too.
Okay. San Antonio side, we're still without Lamarcus Aldridge, so this is going to be business as recently usual. I don't have much, but what I do have, I like a lot. DeMar DeRozan is 7,200 on DraftKings. He's already 22% owned, but I'm not going to be able to avoid something like that. Trey Lyles, 5,100 on DraftKings. Same story, only he's 8% owned. I absolutely want to have Trey Lyles. I like both of those guys on FanDuel. Lyles a bit more than DeRozan. And then on FanDuel, like I could get to a little bit of DeJounte Murray at 5,500, but it's really just DeRozan and Lyles. How do you feel about those two?
Yeah, I mean, with so DeRozan on DraftKings is 7,200. Karis LeVert on DraftKings is 7,000. Dinwiddie's 7,300. Different position, but actually, no, I'm sorry. Dinwiddie has shooting guard eligibility too. So among all of those three guys in the same game, I actually think I would put DeRozan third, but the minutes have been no, I'd put him second behind LeVert, as a matter of fact, looking at this now, because I need to project him for more minutes. And I think you probably get another 36 or so minutes from DeRozan. I can't imagine here's the weird thing. So Lamarcus Aldridge, the last game Aldridge played was the last game he played was the 23rd, right?
Yes. Played 21 minutes.
21 minutes on the 23rd. You look at DeRozan since that, he played 4 games. Field goal attempts, 15, 13, 10, and 11. And it's not like the last two he made up for that with free throw attempts, only 3 each in those games. So it's kind of strange for somebody that has been such a stellar per minute guy without Aldridge with a 30+% usage rate. You just haven't seen that recently. I can only think that it's going to start to level out again.
I expect it to. It would surprise me if it didn't. It would really surprise me if it didn't.
Of course. I mean, all you need to do is look at DeRozan's rates. Even if you wanted to go back to last year and look at DeRozan's rates without without Lamarcus Aldridge on the floor, they are really good.
Yeah.
At least a lot better than what we've seen. Bring it back to the start of last season, and DeMar DeRozan is averaging 1.33 fantasy points per minute, 32% usage, 30% assist rate without Aldridge in 1,054 minutes. That's really good. It's just you haven't seen that since DeRozan went out this last time.
Anybody else that stands out to you from San Antonio?
No, not really. These are all guys that if they pop up in your lineup and a couple of them, you're okay with it. But I just think that value is going to be too abundant today. And we'll get to a lot of these guys. DeMar DeRozan, clearly my favorite play. Trey Lyles, though, I want to get your opinion on this because I think you may like him a little bit more than I may. Are you talking FanDuel?
I'm talking both. I have him 6th on DraftKings right now at 5,100
overall.
Yeah,
interesting.
33 minutes.
Okay. If you have him in for 33 minutes, then yeah. And I know he's played considerable minutes in each of their last 3 games. So I guess I could see it. He
played 40, 36 and a half, and 33 in the last 3.
I know. I'm always gun shy when it comes to how Pop plans on running things. But yeah, I guess it's, you have him 6 overall, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
6.
Yeah. Okay. It's like he's a 0.89 guy in my model on FanDuel. He's been at 0.83 over the past 30 days. I've got him projected at 0.85.
0.85, by the way, in 355 minutes without Aldridge on the floor.
There you go. Feels pretty good.
14% usage.
Yeah. So,
but obviously, Jakob Poeltl being off should make a difference as well.
Yeah, no Jake Puds. So, who's your favorite guy in this game?
What's that?
Favorite guy in this game, LeVert?
It's still LeVert,
Okay.
yeah.
It's Lyles for me. LeVert 2, DeRozan 3.
Okay.
Anything else here?
No, I think we covered it.
The New York Knicks host the Oklahoma City Thunder, 7-point favorites for the Thunder. Mitchell Robinson questionable. I've got him in for right now. Only Julius Randle makes my DraftKings player pool. He is 50th. Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson both rank 11th at their position on FanDuel. Randle at 12% on DK, the only guy in double digits. I basically don't need a Knick today.
I have virtually zero interest in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what there is to. I mean, if you wanted to make the argument that Danilo Gallinari is relatively safe at his price point, fine. I won't argue you on that, but that's really it. I don't see the necessity to get to really anybody here. You mentioned Julius Randle. Sure. That's fine. But first of all, the minutes on Randle have not been nearly as reliable as they were before the All-Star break.
Right.
Listen, they've returned from the All-Star break. These are his minutes. 30, 28, 25. By the way, all of these games at least close. One of them wasn't that close, but not huge blowouts. Then 38, 32, 30, 32. So he's played one game above 32 minutes. If you remember, before the All-Star break, after that coaching change, going back a while, he was playing 35 plus minutes every night. So that worries me.
Worries me a little bit too. We're on the exact same page. Like, this is a game that I have no interest in. Highest ranked guy I have on DraftKings is Schroeder at 43rd. Steven Adams is 8th at center. That's the highest rank at anybody's individual position on FanDuel. I'm more likely to have 0 of this game.
If Mitchell Robinson was 4,800, we could have that talk, but he's getting up there in price. That makes it a lot more difficult to pull the trigger on him too.
My mom is calling me right now. She had some fun with the picture I sent her of my mustache yesterday.
I bet she did, man.
She's like, hey, still handsome. I was like, there's no need to lie, Mom.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
You brought some joy to people's lives, including your mom. This was all a good idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea. Look, I don't hate it.
No, I'm used to it. Like, I look at and I'm just used to it. So it is what it is.
There we go.
I would agree, by the way, that Dennis Schroeder is. And I don't even want to say he's fine. You get 30 minutes from him. I don't see him playing more than that. You're still competing with SGA and with Chris Paul and Danilo Gallinari. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this game shoots out, Josh, but it's really unlikely.
Yeah, not seeing it. I think we could put this one to bed. Move on.
Second lowest total on the day.
Yeah. Speaking of low totals, there's the next two games. Boston Celtics, Utah Jazz. Jazz are 2.5-point underdogs in Boston. Celtics are going to be without Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward. Looks like Kemba Walker is going to be available. He is not on the injury report.
No, he was just out for the back-to-back. That's
right.
All.
Like I said, that he's going to be available. I like Jason Tatum on FanDuel at 9,500. I have him third at his position. Just going to really dominate the ball. I'm still expecting limited minutes for Kemba Walker. Marcus Smart getting a little bit of love. 20% owned on FanDuel, 10 on DK. Not so sure that I want that much. I really don't have much interest in this game. Like, I have Tatum 38th on DK. That's the best that I can get to. Still 10K. I like all of the other potential pay-up options more than I like Tatum.
The interest.
Yeah, that's it. Nah, that's pretty much it. I was trying to grasp at straws, but I don't have any.
The interesting thing about the Utah Jazz recently, if you run it back over the last month, well, the numbers are kind of alarming, and I'll tell you why. So over that span, they're 24th in defense, right? 24th in defense and top 5 in offense, which, generally makes for pretty good fantasy conditions. Bad defense, good offense makes things a lot better than having a shutdown defense and just a decent offense. They're playing great offensively, terrible defensively. And while they're still playing at a slow pace, it's at least worth pointing out that this matchup is markedly better for Tatum than it would have been earlier this season because for some reason, they're just not playing solid defense at all. And I've been watching a lot of Jazz. I've mentioned this to you guys before.
Yeah.
A lot of these late games, I'm able to tune into them. I try to watch as many as possible. The Jazz just they seem to be they seem to have lost their identity, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. The problem is when you start talking about the high-priced guys, you've got Doncic, you've got Giannis, you got LeBron, you got Beal, Jason Tatum, Trey Young, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Kristaps Porzingis if Doncic is out. There are a lot of high-priced players today. It makes it difficult to prioritize Tatum. But to be fair to this guy, Josh, he has been one of the best fantasy producers in the league for, about a month now.
He's going nuts. 1.35 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. I've got him on a baseline 115. That's 2 full tenths of a point per minute.
He's crushing.
I mean, we're talking about at 36 minutes, 7.2 fantasy points at that level compared to where I have him. Like, that's how much he's outplaying his baseline. Like, he's just on a different level. And yet at 10K, I can't put him ahead of Bradley Beal, Trey Young, Giannis, Luka, AD, Dame. He's last for me.
I think I could put him ahead of Dame, actually.
I'm giving Dame the full freight today, so we'll get there.
I think I could put him above AD. Maybe, maybe not. But I can tell you there are several guys he's behind, and that's probably enough.
Utah side. Mike Conley ranks 37th for me on DraftKings. Rudy Gobert is my 7th ranked center. Those are the 2 best rankings I have from the Jazz. I am more likely to not have anyone from Utah. This is basically a no-go, just like Knicks and Thunder. Are you getting to any guys from the Jazz?
No, I'm not. And I'm going to keep pointing this out. Finally, we got the back to normal rebounding game from Rudy Gobert. That's nice and all. Daniel Tice and isn't exactly a defensive juggernaut, but there's way too much talent for me to feel good about anyone from this team. And sure, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart are out, but I don't think that makes a difference. They're still a good defense. This game should still be pretty sluggish, and I don't see myself getting their 3rd lowest total on the slate. It should be close, Josh. That's the one thing. And as I've been saying, one team or someone still has to do the scoring, but name a Utah guy that you could prioritize.
I don't have one.
Neither do I.
I mean, like, Mike Conley might get 5. The highest owned guy we have is Rudy Gobert at 7% on FanDuel. Everybody else is less than that. It's a fun basketball game. It's just not a very good DFS game.
Right. The highest player in this game overall on DraftKings is still sub 10% Marcus Smart.
It's wild, right?
Rudy Gobert 5%.
I have Marcus Smart ranked 54th.
No, there's just it's an unnecessary spot is what it is.
Let's put this one to bed. The next one we have to talk about, but it's a terrible game. There's just injury news. Chicago Bulls, Indiana Pacers. Pacers are 4.5 point favorites in Chicago. Believe this is the lowest implied total on the slate. We've got Wendell Carter at 13% ownership on FanDuel. That is the only guy in double digits from the Bulls. I like him. He's my number 3 center. He's 4,100 on FanDuel. It's really difficult to get away from that from a value perspective. I do not have a Chicago Bull in my DraftKings player pool, and I don't have anybody ranked at a reasonable level on FanDuel other than Carter. Will you play a Chicago Bull today?
On DraftKings?
Yes.
I don't see it happening. One of the issues too is with Boylan, where are the minutes going? They're being spread around. What are you getting from Shaq Harrison? Low to mid 20s. Markkanen, are you going to get 30? Probably not. Dude, it's so tough. I will say this much though. I've been kind of heavy on this lately. Kobe White has been excellent.
Yeah.
And I love what I've seen from him. Now
1.08 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days.
Yeah, it's not insane, But the difference is, did you take Zach LaVine off the floor?
Oh, I just mean like that's where he's been.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So all I'm saying is now you have Zach LaVine off the floor.
Right.
That's significant.
Sure.
Kobe White's price is getting up there a little bit, but I actually still have a bit of interest. Anybody that's going to get, he played 35 minutes last game. They can play 35 minutes and attempt 20 plus shots a night. I think at 6,300 is still well worth considering, but that's it. I understand why he's not in your player pool. I wouldn't argue that.
Uh-oh.
I want him to drive to the rim more because he's been efficient in that capacity. But I
there we go. Never mind. I couldn't hear you for a second, but I knew that everybody else could still hear you, so I didn't want to cut you off.
I was just going to say, I think that he's still a pretty solid option, and without LaVine, it just makes it even easier. So I wish he was mid 5K, but 30+% usage, 30 plus 35 minutes, and a decent amount of potential assists per game for me puts Kobe White in the picture.
That's totally fair. I just don't think that I can get to him. Like, even if I goosed him quite a bit, he's only going to get to 30th at best. So I'm assuming I don't see him. This is just a terrible fantasy game. Josh loves Shaq Harrison. Shaq Harrison, not a part of either player pool. So
yeah,
I guess I don't love him all that much.
Interested in. He did play 29 minutes last game, but I don't necessarily feel good about that. It's just Kobe White for me. I'll keep running him out there. He's been good.
It's fair. On the Indiana side, this is where it matters. Malcolm Brogdon, doubtful. Victor Oladipo, who knows? Looks like he's going to play, and I put him in. But I'm going to have a lot of exposure to this game. And looks like I went a different direction than ownership did, so maybe we need to have a bigger discussion. Who do you think is the biggest benefactor if Brogdon is out? Is it Aaron Holiday or TJ McConnell? I gave Holiday 30 minutes and McConnell 24, but we are giving Holiday no ownership and TJ McConnell 30 plus.
I think McConnell really benefits from this.
Okay. Let's talk it through.
All right. Well, he came in for Malcolm Brogdon when Brogdon went down. Now, it's really hard to say how much of a difference that makes because Oladipo didn't play last game.
Right.
So that's understandable for sure. But at the same time, who would you rather have? Give me the minutes. What are you giving for Holiday and McConnell?
I gave Holiday 30 and McConnell 24.
Okay. And they're the same price.
Yeah.
If they both played, I want to ask you this. I think the answer should be obvious to everyone, but it'll put us on the right path. If they both played 25 minutes,
TJ McConnell.
What do you like more?
TJ McConnell.
Not close, right?
No, not even remotely close.
Okay.
Aaron Holiday has been really, really bad from a DFS perspective, and TJ McConnell is functional.
Exactly. So right now with McConnell getting that in absurd ownership, if that's the case, I have some worries. I wish it was opposite. It's not. And we're also waiting on Oladipo. If Oladipo's out, I don't really care what I'm serious. If Oladipo's out, I don't think I care what McConnell's ownership is. I
agree.
I really don't. I'm not pretending like TJ McConnell is this electric star that should be, the starting point guard on 29 of 30 teams. No, of course not. But he's a DraftKings point per minute guy, almost exactly a fantasy point per minute on the year.
Right.
And unlike Aaron Holiday, he actually does have those games where he can kind of blow up for you. And I also think if you were to say, if Oladipo's out, you're probably giving McConnell 30 minutes.
No doubt about it.
Right. And it would be very tough for McConnell to kill you at 30 minutes. I don't want to say impossible because we all know that's not the case, but it would be very tough against Chicago for McConnell to let you down. So I'll pay close attention. It's a huge piece of news there. I agree with you though. If Oladipo ends up being in, those minutes sound about right. Maybe I'll go 28, 26. But then I would imagine I'm just going to get an incredible amount of McConnell. And if Oladipo plays, that might worry me a little bit at his projected ownership.
Yeah. So far this season, when Brogdon hasn't played, Aaron Holiday's played 29 minutes per game. TJ McConnell has played 23. I just don't know really what to do with these guys right now. I mean, clearly Aaron Holiday is not going to be 0% owned.
Right.
I feel more comfortable now moving this to like 29-25 just to like make the split look a little bit better.
Yeah, I could do that. Instead of 28-26, 29-25. We're on the same page though. Moving in that direction of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets me way more TJ. That extra minute is massive for McConnell. And
right.
I still really, really like Aaron Holiday. Holiday 3,700 on FanDuel, 4K on DraftKings.
Jeremy Lamb obviously out for the season, so that's just another reason that if Oladipo sits, a lot of things open up. Doug McDermott's questionable. This guy was playing around 18 minutes per game.
Yeah.
If he ends up sitting, then you've just got to move more guys over to the wing, or to small forward, to the forward positions. It could get interesting. It could definitely get interesting. Now, this game has the lowest total on the slate by 6 points.
Yeah, it's rough.
But in a case like this, I don't really care if you're getting good value and, half their backcourt is injured.
Sabonis picking up a little love, about 20% owned on both sites. I think that's a little bit heavy, particularly on DraftKings.
I think it's crazy heavy, honestly.
Yeah. I don't mind it so much on FanDuel just because of the way positions work, but he's still 7th for me. I'd be more likely to get to Miles Turner, 6K on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. He's been playing 30 minutes a night. I think that's pretty appealing on DK, especially against the Bulls. What else do you want other than Holiday and McConnell?
Sabonis is a great player, but one more time, there are so many good top tier options on this slate that it's hard to stomach paying almost $9,000 for Sabonis today.
I can't imagine wanting to do it, especially at 17% ownership.
I know. Would you rather have Sabonis or Vooch against Minnesota?
Vooch, not even remotely close.
Not close, right? Exactly. It's not close. And then if Doncic sits, you got Porzingis at 9,300. We'll get into that. He's been insane.
I'd rather have Porzingis even if he doesn't.
Yeah, I guess so. That's tough. I have some reservations there. We'll talk about it once we get to Memphis. But the point is, that's a steep price point on Sabonis for having that much ownership.
It certainly is. Anything else in this game?
We hit it all.
648 current viewers, only 215 likes. That's not going to cut it for Mustache Friday. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out tremendously. It's a big day. Fridays are big days.
Should have done Monday.
Mustache Monday. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? We'll do Mustache Monday anyway. I'll still have it. Big day for Awesemo.com. At noon, we will have the Awesemo Odds betting show with Ben Rasa and Jordan Frank. At 2 p.m., XFL Strategy show. Chris Spags, Sal Vetri talking XFL. NHL Strategy show at 4 with Jake Hari. No game plan stream today because Alex will be on the deeper dive with Adam. 4:45 start. No Lofty tonight. It's Alex and Adam. And then 6 p.m. until 7:30, myself and Chris Spags breaking it all down, going the extra half hour for our presenting sponsor, which is
Super Draft. My fault. Slow on the trigger there.
I'll let it go. You should be ashamed of yourself for that. Guys, greatly appreciate having you here on Mustache Friday. But you're being stingy with your thumbs ups, and that is my only critique. But we appreciate you greatly.
We love you guys and all. Love us back.
All right, business is about to pick up. We just hit like 4 straight garbage games, and now we're closing. Our next hour will close strong.
Yeah, we're getting into it next hour, right?
I mean, Minnesota Timberwolves, Orlando Magic. Magic are 2-point favorites in Minnesota. There's a lot to like here. Russell, Beasley, Reed, and Hernan Gomez are all between 15 and 25% owned on FanDuel. Russell and Beasley both just a hair over 10% on DK. I like Juancho on Yahoo at 17. I like Josh Okogie a little bit at the flat min there. But my favorite guy here, Hernan Gomez on FanDuel, 4,900. He's getting 26% ownership. He's number 2 at his position for me. Fine with Hernan Gomez on DK as well, only getting 7% ownership. I think Russell and Beasley are both going a little over-owned. Well, maybe not over-owned because it's only like 10%. I'm a little lighter on Russell and Beasley on DK than I think the public is. I'm more likely to get to them on FanDuel at 8,100 and 5,300 respectively, but they are 6th and 10th at their position. So this is mostly just Hernan Gomez for me. How do you feel about Minnesota in, I don't know, a decent spot against a depleted Orlando team?
I guess it's decent. How depleted is Orlando, though? I guess they go ahead. No Isaac and no Fournier, right? So
yeah, not expected to have Fournier, no Isaac. I mean, no Aminu, but that's not like it's new.
No, that's significant. You're right. Not Aminu. The Evan Fournier news is significant. So
I mean, I think Aminu is significant if it means that Gary Clark plays, but he's been gone for the whole year, so it doesn't really count.
Right. I'm just not that. There's a lot for Orlando I like, begrudgingly, but I'm just not excited about Minnesota. A lot of these prices are coming up. Now, look, Naz Reid, give the guy some credit. Even before Towns went down, whenever Naz Reid got a little bit of opportunity, he produced, right? How long does that continue for? I don't know. I think if he stays out of foul trouble, you continue to see some solid numbers from him. At his price, though, in a very deep center position, you're going to be hard pressed to fall in love with him there. And there's a center in this same game, that we're going to talk about. Naz Reid doesn't have power forward eligibility. Plus, his minutes, you're hoping he gets to 27, maybe 28, but he's played, since Towns went down, he's getting the 25 to 27 minute treatment, which is fine. It's just not going to be enough for me on such a deep slate. And I think across the board, looking at this team, Hernan Gomez, you mentioned, is the one guy that you like here.
Yeah.
Do you like him, or is he just palatable?
29th on DraftKings, so palatable, probably.
He's
an easy fit.
I don't see how I get to D'Angelo Russell. I just don't see any way.
I'm with you.
It's very difficult to see how you're paying almost $9,000 for Russell when Trey Young, and I get the difference in ownership, but Trey Young at 9,900 or Russell at 88, one of them in a much better matchup and a better overall fantasy player. That's not an easy one to do at all.
No.
And what's Russell's ownership right now?
14.
That's honestly higher than I thought it would be. It really is.
I completely agree. I'm surprised by it. That's a big price tag.
I'd rather pay down or pay up. He's in kind of no man's land for me, as is Domantas Sabonis, who we just talked about.
Do you want to touch on anybody else from Minnesota?
No, but we got a lot to get to for the Orlando Magic.
We certainly do. Let's do it now. So, on FanDuel, Ennis, MCW, Fultz, Ross, Gordon, and Vooch all in double digits. Evan Fournier is doubtful for this game. On DraftKings, Vooch, double digits, Ross, Fultz, Williams, and DJ Augustine at the flat minimum. To point out the big numbers, Vooch is at 43% on FanDuel, 20 on DK. He is my number one center. I'm not sure I want 43%, but he is very clearly a top play today. Gordon and Fultz both in the 20s on FanDuel. Vooch and Augustine and barely or just shy of it, MCW are around 20 on DK. Terrence Ross should see a very big increase in both minutes and ball handling duties. I think Vooch and Ross are pretty clearly my two favorite guys coming out of this game. I think MCW is sneaky and, maybe not sneaky, but, mildly sneaky. I'm not all that interested in Aaron Gordon at 8,600 for some reason, but he's my number one power forward on FanDuel at 7,100. You got to have a lot of Orlando here. Minnesota's defense, really bad. Massive pace-up spot for the Magic. It's hard to avoid this spot.
So, on January 15th, Evan Fournier was out. Jonathan Isaac's last game was the 1st of January. Here's what we got. Terrence Ross played 31 minutes. Gary Clark played 20. Markelle Fultz played 33. The starting lineup was Fultz, Wes Iwundu, who played 32. Aaron Gordon, who played 37, I think. Kem Birch played 16, and Vooch played 33. So DJ Augustine, I believe, was injured in that game. And Michael Carter-Williams, I don't think was healthy either. So it's kind of hard to take much away from that. It's a shame though, Josh, because it's usually tough for us to find a game like that where you have Isaac and Fournier out. Usually that's a gold mine when you can evaluate something like that, actually having the information. But it doesn't really tell us much. Can you glean anything from that game on the 15th?
Not really.
There's not much there.
No.
Which is unfortunate. But Terrence Ross last game played 34 minutes. Get this. He had 35 points. How many rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals do you think he had combined?
1.
0. You know how hard that is to not just stumble into a rebound?
I mean,
it's
crazy. It happened.
But
somebody else did it recently too. CJ McCollum, maybe?
I think it was Boyan Bogdanovic.
Was it him?
He had like 30 plus points, and a couple have done it, but still, it's nuts. Ownership on Terrence Ross is important to me because a popular Terrence Ross is not someone that I usually want to get to, but I honestly don't have an issue with him here. I think he plays 30 plus minutes. He's been operating with a decent enough usage rate. And a thing I like about him is when Terrence Ross heats up, you start to see a lot of the team deferring towards him. If you've watched any of the Magic games, you've seen it. He's allowed to fire away when he's playing well. And there are going to be games, there are going to be nights where he really struggles and just looks downright awful. But I don't have an issue with it. Let's get into the backcourt a little bit more. You got Fultz, you've got MCW, and you've got Augustine. How are you breaking minutes down for them today?
So I gave Fultz 30. I gave Augustine 22. I gave MCW 22.
Okay.
And Ross 32.
Ross? 32 to Ross.
Yeah.
Sorry, how many to Augustine and MCW?
22 apiece.
And 32 to Fultz?
30 to Fultz.
Oh, only 30 to Fultz. Okay.
Yeah. I could easily go to 32 on Fultz.
I think you have to set some groups here.
For sure.
And
you definitely don't want more than one of MCW and DJ Augustine. That much I can tell you.
Correct. Right now, you've got Augustine and MCW both projected for north of 18% ownership on DraftKings. You got Terrence Ross at 12%. You've got Fultz at 10%. So all of them are in the double digits. I wish Ross was cheaper, but I'm understanding that he could, get up 20 shots in this game with Fournier out. It makes sense. It's not like Aaron Gordon's a particularly high usage guy, and Markelle Fultz is just okay. The big question is, do you get to Fultz here? He's really, and color me shocked, he's really not a productive fantasy player for the most part. But if he gives you 30, 31 minutes, is that enough? Because this is a really appealing matchup, and we can't overlook the fact that Minnesota is not the team that can protect the rim for the most part, playing at an elevated pace. Game has a 233.5 total, and it's a massive pace-up spot for the Orlando Magic.
So I have Fultz 35th overall on DK. He's my 7th point guard on FanDuel. And that's at 30 minutes. If I gave him one more minute,
that sounds right.
If I give him one more minute, he's going to be. I mean, let me just do that.
Try it. While you do that, by the way, Josh,
yeah.
Minnesota's playing at the fastest pace in the league by almost 2 possessions per 48 over the last month. 106.9 pace.
If I give Fultz 31 minutes, he becomes my 3rd ranked point guard on FanDuel, and he's 20th overall on DraftKings.
Yeah, I would dislike him a lot more if he was really popular right now, but he's not getting that much ownership. So I don't have an issue with him.
Who's your favorite guy on DK?
It's still Vooch. I mean, I love Nikola Vucevic today. I really like him a lot. I don't know about you, but this is just an incredibly favorable spot. I mean, you're going up against the likes of Naz Reid and James Johnson. Credit to them, for not exactly being traditional bigs. They've done a good job, and it's only right that we point that out. But at the same time, Vucevic is one of the best offensive centers in the league. He's a good passing big man. He's a good enough rebounder. He does so much that I just love him. And for me, it's going to be difficult to get away from. No, I won't say difficult to get away from him because there are so many good players today. But take Fournier off the court as well, and things open up. I like Vooch today a lot.
I think I probably prefer Ross to Vooch, given the ownership. But like Vooch is very clearly the top center on FanDuel. I can't disagree with it. He's number 10 overall for me on DraftKings. I have no problems with him. I think it's just a little bit easier to get to Ross, particularly given the lower ownership. Vooch 1.25x multiplier on SuperDraft, also fantastic.
Who are your favorites between MCW? You already said you like Ross the most, so I'll ask you MCW, Fultz, and Augustine, knowing that all of them are going to be, in some way sharing minutes.
So I think the answer has to be Fultz, because we don't really know what MCW and Augustine are going to do, whereas Fultz is going to play 30 minutes.
Right. Fair enough.
I prefer MCW a lot to DJ Augustine.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Explain.
I think he's just better. He's like a 1 fantasy point per minute guy. Augustine is 0.83 in my model and 0.66 over the last 30 days.
I think you're right in saying if they're getting similar minutes, Carter Williams is easily the option that you'd rather have here. Completely agree on that.
And we have Augustine projected for more ownership right now. I mean, it's 18 to 21, so it's not like real.
Right.
But I would rather just have MCW by a lot.
And the difference in price is negligible.
No, $300. Who cares? Doesn't matter at all. So Vooch, your favorite play in this game, no doubt about it, right? But you're going to have a lot of Orlando.
You have to, man.
Agreed.
I'll just state this one more time and then I'm done. The Timberwolves are playing 106.8 or 106.9. They're averaging 106.9 possessions per 48. I don't know if you're listening, maybe you don't really pay much attention to that and you don't know how that factors in or how that kind of grades out in regards to the rest of the league. Over that span, the Pistons are averaging 94.4. Okay. 12 additional possessions per game, Josh, in regulation. That's an insane number. Massive. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. This is going to be as good as it gets, really, for Orlando.
It is. And by the way, Towns has been out for basically a month now.
Yeah.
So they already played at a fast pace, but now you've got some smaller bigs. We know this. Worst teams oftentimes play at a more elevated pace. You're seeing that with the Timberwolves. So it's not a fluke.
No. Want to keep it moving?
Let's do it. I mean, that game was going to take a while anyway.
A lot of these are. New Orleans Pelicans, Miami Heat. Pels 1.5 favorites at home against Miami. Nothing interesting for New Orleans, really. Zion and Brandon Ingram, the only two guys in double digits. They are the only two guys that make my player pool on both sites. Zion, 41st for me on DK. He is 8th at his position on FanDuel. 1.5 multiplier on SuperDraft, though, so you got to still grab Zion on SuperDraft. Otherwise, I'm probably not getting much from the Pelicans.
No, I think Zion's fine, but I'm very surprised at how popular he is on DraftKings right now.
I don't get it.
On FanDuel, he's 22%.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He's a good player. I think, by the way, that the Pelicans win this game, and I think they're going to have a tough time containing Zion. But is the 38-40 fantasy points you're getting from Zion going to be enough?
I'm anxious to see Bam on Zion because he's the type of guy that's going to want to push his shit in.
Okay, well,
I mean, he's just he doesn't care at all about who Zion thinks
but
he is.
I don't know how much caring has to do with it. The fact that Zion is just a massive blob that will back you down. By the way, I say that it's an endearing, it's really not. He's a big fella, okay? But he's actually quick and his post moves are excellent and he makes you look stupid. I'll give him credit. I don't know how much.
You and your glorified Julius Randle comp. Blech.
Yeah, I still think a couple of years from now you're going to be agreeing with me once he starts to break down a little bit from those
once he starts being a first-team All-NBA player.
That'll never happen. Never.
Zion Williamson will never be a first-team All-NBA player.
Ass tattoo bet.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
No, you wouldn't.
I mean, depends what the tattoo is.
What does it have to be? You ready? Let's do it.
Zion?
Okay, and what? And if he isn't, you have to get my face. No, I'm just kidding. That I would feel uncomfortable with my face tattooed on your ass. All right, a Zion going like that.
Yeah. Thumbs up, Zion. I mean, we might not be paying this one off for a decade, so
could be a while. Let's virtual shake it. I'm serious, man. There it is. We're locked in. This could be this needs to be a long-term bet. Maybe not. Maybe it's next year, but this needs to be something that could take a while.
It'll never be next year.
I don't think
if it's next year, then be ready.
I'll do it. I will do it, but I don't think it'll be ever.
Give it 4 years.
Okay, we'll be in contact.
I'll see.
This should be fun.
Can't wait to get Zion Williamson tattooed on my backside. So I won't get it in 4 years unless I am paying it off early, which I'm clearly not going to do unless he dies.
Right, yeah, that's not very fair to me.
What do you mean?
That
you can only get this early. I can never I don't have to get this until he's 35 years old.
Seems like I booked a bad bet here.
I mean, I don't expect him to age gracefully, so at some point in time we'll know, or if he's out of the league, we'll know.
Awful Trader AT on Twitter, one of our loyal viewers. Appreciate you as always, man. He says that's an unbelievable bet for Josh. Get your ass ready, Dave. It's not. He's not going to be able to hold up.
He doesn't have to.
He's not going to hold up.
He doesn't have to.
Anyway, amazing. He's over-owned right now.
4 years from now, when you're like, all right, I got to go to the tattoo parlor. Honey, I got to get Zion Williamson's face tattooed on my derriere.
Dude, it's going to be worse telling the tattoo artist.
I mean, it'll be really commonplace. He's going to be like Michael Jordan, household name. It won't even be weird.
If that, you know what? That's maybe not the worst bet for me. Worst case scenario, if that happens, I get a Hall of Famer tattooed on my cheek.
Yeah. I wish you had to get it on your actual cheek.
That would never. I mean, that's insane.
Oh yeah, I know. What do we look like?
That's
Post
absurd.
Malone. Ooh, the tramp stamp would be good, but no shot.
No, not doing that either.
I almost got one back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah. I assume you didn't watch One Tree Hill.
I don't think so. My girl, Justine did.
Yeah. So a girl on the show got the number 23. It was Nate Scott's jersey number tattooed in the tramp stamp area, and I had two friends that were thinking about paying for it to happen when I was in Fort Lauderdale.
You should have.
Oh, so this is one of their biggest regrets now, because at the time, we were all just broke, and they didn't want to spend the money on me getting that tattoo. Now, I think they'd probably spend $1,000 to go back in time to do it.
100%.
Yeah.
It would have cost like $50 to do that.
Yeah, we didn't have $50. A waste.
Crazy. Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I was like 22, 23, something like that. Broke college kid. Anyway, not important. Not all that interested in the Pels side. Miami side, though. Big time pace up spot. They gained 5 possessions over their average. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, all around 20% owned on FanDuel. Jimmy Butler, 17% on DK. I've got Butler 18th on DraftKings. Duncan Robinson 19th. Bam 22nd. Goran Dragic 28th. We'll get there. It'll become commonplace. I like a lot of Miami. They're not getting any love really on DK outside of Butler. On FanDuel, they are. Like, I've got Bam as my number 2 at his position. Butler's 5th. I'm a little less enamored with the Jay Crowder, Duncan Robinson plays there. I like Miami way more than the public does. Do you?
Not really.
What
and
do you know?
I think that could change. But all right, so the public, first of all, is not that high on New Orleans. And
no.
I'm actually surprised that Brandon Ingram's getting 13% on DraftKings. It's actually more than I thought at 8,100. But there it is. So with Jimmy Butler, that price is pretty favorable. I want to ask you about his shot volume now. Normally it wouldn't be something I'm concerned about, but he does this where sometimes he just kind of takes a backseat role as a scorer. He's been playing huge minutes. His shot volume is down considerably lately. I don't know if it's something that lasts, probably not, but he's not a 3-point shooter. You need him to get to either the rim or you need him to get to the free throw line. And it's been strange to see him a little bit less involved than he was before. I still think Butler would be somebody at a sub 8K price point to consider. And Bam Adebayo, the simple truth is that Eric Spoelstra is going to need him for a lot of minutes today. I'm not sure what your alternative to Bam Adebayo against Zion could possibly be tonight. It's not Kelly Olynyk, I'll tell you that much.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's got to just be Bam. Also, shout out to Manny C. $50 super chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for making me a better DFS player. I put in 10 lineups and took first on FanDuel. Thanks again, guys.
Nice, dude.
Congratulations, man. Get those W's. It always feels good. Yeah, Bam at 15% ownership on FanDuel is crazy. 6% on ownership on DraftKings is also pretty crazy to me. Like, Bam is a power forward.
Mm-hmm.
To not get to him more than 15% is kind of wild. Like, he's less owned on. Would you rather have Bam Adebayo on FanDuel at 8,100 or Zion Williamson at 7,500?
Oh, I'm not sure that's even a question.
Bam, right?
Yeah.
Zion Williamson is more owned than Bam Adebayo.
I don't hate Zion, but
no.
The issue I have with Zion...
You better not hate him. He's going to be on your hind parts in a couple of years.
Yeah, that won't happen.
I cannot wait. I'm going to be like somewhere else. I'm going to be living in like Belize or something. I'm going to find out. I'm going to open up the newspaper. Zion Williamson, first team All NBA. And I'm going to be like, I need to make a call real quick.
I'll live stream it. Don't worry.
The whole tattoo? Deal.
Parts of it.
You want that booty on the internet?
Yeah. Hey, if it's got to be done, it's got to be done. I just think that Bam is a little bit more reliable here. He has a better matchup. Miami has really struggled away from home, like a lot. But this is, by the way, a must-win game for New Orleans if they want to be even remotely competitive for that 8th seed. So I do think Zion's going to get the minutes for sure. He played 35 on the second of a back-to-back. I just like Bam Adebayo more. I like his matchup more. They get the pace increase more so. It's a better spot, but the big thing is the ownership here. With Zion being 20+%, it makes it an easier decision for me.
Okay. Favorite play in this game?
It's probably Bam.
Okay. It's Butler for me if we're talking DraftKings, but the ownership is already there, so it gets pretty close to being Bam. But it's Bam for me on FanDuel for sure.
Okay. So our social media guys put out a poll. Will Zion Williamson ever make an all NBA first team? And with 43 votes, 84% say for sure.
Yeah, that's because you're wildly incorrect.
His body's not going to hold up.
It doesn't have to. He only has to make it once, not 15 times.
Not going to happen.
Okay. All right,
we'll see. You could use a win.
I pretty much just put the jinx on Zion's career. He's going to end up getting like 11 second teams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Zion Williamson broke the record for second team All NBA appearances with every single year of his career besides his rookie year.
Oh, that would make me so happy.
50-year-old Josh getting Zion tattooed on me.
That would make me just unbelievably happy. But yeah, I go Bam. Butler's fine too.
Okay. Moving on. Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, Mavs 8-point favorites at home. Big time implied total here for Dallas, but there's a lot up in the air. Luka questionable, Tim Hardaway questionable, somebody else is questionable. How are you treating this game right away? I have everybody in.
I'm very uncertain of Luka Doncic. If you watch that game against New Orleans that went to OT, I said this to Dan last night. He was grabbing his thumb and putting it in between his legs and squeezing his legs to try and, when you have that pain, you feel or whatever, and you're trying to alleviate that pain any way you can by putting pressure on it. Saw him doing that and then grabbing it at the free throw line, grabbing it in between whistles. That was alarming to me. He still had a triple-double. He still had a great game.
Yeah.
But he said that he re-aggravated it. How does that play for today? He didn't practice yesterday dealing with an illness on top of this thumb injury. I'm not convinced that he's going to play. I'm really not. And if he doesn't, I really like Porzingis a ton.
Yeah.
Now, let's be clear. New Orleans, their interior defense, their defense in the paint was so bad last game. They just let Porzingis walk to the basket happily.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you something. When I said there are some wild stats, something that amazes me is I think on earlier on a strategy show with us this week, I had mentioned that Memphis was actually better without Jaren Jackson defensively. Since Jaren Jackson went down, they rank third in defensive rating in the league. Third. The Memphis Grizzlies
really
rank third behind the Lakers and the Bucks. Check this out, dude. So they played two consecutive road games, right? I'm not saying they faced good teams, but still, they held the Nets to 79 points, won 118 to 79. Before that, they held Atlanta to 88 points, blew them out 127-88. I'll take it a step further. They played the Lakers before that. They held them to 88 points. Lakers closed as 12-point favorites. They lost by like 18 or 17. This is a team right now. I don't know if it's Jackson because of Jackson and Clark being out, but their defense has been remarkably good. They are making life impossible for opposing defenses. So maybe you take it with a grain of salt, but it's definitely something that needs to be discussed because they're limiting teams like crazy right now. And it's really crazy to watch.
I didn't realize that it was that aggressive. That is wild. Do you think Luka plays?
I'm leaning no.
Okay. Obviously, get a lot of Kristaps Porzingis if he's out.
Yes. Screw the matchup.
Do you care about anybody else for Dallas? Let's assume Luka is out because we don't care about anybody else from Dallas if Luka is in, right?
Yeah, that's a spot that would be a whole lot less appealing.
I don't get the sense that I want anybody regardless.
It's Porzingis if Doncic is out. That's what it comes down.
And that's it for me. Let's go to Memphis.
Let's do it.
No one on Memphis is in double digits in ownership. Only Dylan Brooks makes my player pool on DK. Joe Val is my 5th ranked center. That should pretty much sum it up. I don't get the sense that I'm going to have much, if anything, of Memphis.
I don't really like this game much at all, honestly. I'm very uncertain on what this Memphis team's identity actually is without Jackson, because you're seeing what I just mentioned, and I don't necessarily know how much of that is real or how much of it isn't. And I don't think you have to get there. There's nobody that stands out. Like Melton probably plays 25 minutes or so.
Sure.
Maybe has a decent game. Could be decent value. Probably not. Center's just too deep for me to get to Jonas Valanciunas. I don't really like much of Memphis at all. And sure, Morant's below 7K on DraftKings. It's still a spot that I'll likely not get a whole lot of.
Yeah, I don't. Dylan Brooks is the only guy that I could even half recommend, and I don't even feel great about that.
The whole game.
Yeah.
It really comes down to Luka.
I'm with you. I like Luka regardless. I like Porzingis regardless. But
That's it.
Porzingis becomes incredible if Luka ends up out.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of ridiculous ownership and what happens when people are out, get ready for this one.
Baines.
Phoenix Suns, Portland Trailblazers. Blazers 1.5 point favorites in Phoenix. No DeAndre Ayton for the Suns today. So, Aaron Baines is 4,900 on FanDuel. You can safely ignore that. Although he's probably not bad depending on how many minutes you give him. I gave him 24. He's 3K on DraftKings. Flat minimum. We're projecting 65% ownership, and that ain't going anywhere. That is, and I get it. Like, he's 3K. That's just what it's going to be. Devin Booker was my number one contender today. 8,300 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings. Only in the mid-20s in ownership. I love it. Playing monster minutes.
Really?
Why would you not?
No, not to love it, but your number one contender, huh?
Number one. Who's going to this dude's playing 38 minutes a game. He is in charge of everything. No Kelly Oubre, no DeAndre Ayton. He's going to shoot every time he comes down the floor. You think he's going to get the ball to Javon Carter and Elliot Kobo and Ty Jerome and T.O.?
I wish Rubio was the one that was out.
Sure, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah. I was just surprised. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a very good play today. So is he your number one ranked overall player on the slate?
Number one at his position on FanDuel, number two on DK, number one overall.
Okay. Fair enough.
Portland's defense stinks.
Yeah, they are a bad defensive team for sure. There's no question about that.
Also, 1.35 multiplier on SuperDraft. Gotta love Booker there. $35 on Yahoo. This whole team on Yahoo. Bridges 17, Saric 12, Aaron Baines 10. I don't know how you don't have a lot of Phoenix today.
Yeah, 1.28 DraftKings points per minute with Ayton and Oubre off the court this season. Good numbers. 32% usage, 35% assists, almost 400 minutes. I really like him. I don't have him as my top play. I probably don't have him at quite as high as you do, but it's a favorable spot. Another game that you should expect to see quite a bit of scoring. What's the total? 233, I think. 232 and a half. Yeah, Booker's a great play. Aaron Baines, this is tough because when many guys have been injured in the past, there's always someone else that is out. And then again, with this one, you've got Cameron Johnson, who's not going to play. You've got DeAndre Ayton dealing with that ankle. We don't expect him to play. He's listed as doubtful. So I think Dario Saric and Aaron Baines both get a lot of minutes today. Frank Kaminsky's obviously still out. These guys both probably play a lot.
Yeah, love Bridges. Love Rubio. I mean, love is, temper those expectations for Bridges and Rubio. Saric is 4,900 on DK, 31% ownership right now. Feels a little high. But these guys are just going to soak up a ton of time. The question is, do you get to anybody else that's not logical? Like Check Diallo, or do you think it's Owens, any of the other guys in the backcourt?
No, I don't think you have to get to someone like Diallo. It doesn't seem necessary to me. I just don't see him getting enough minutes. He's playing a couple minutes per game, and I'd probably give him 14 minutes today. It's not going to be enough for me.
Okay. Devin Booker, full stamp of approval. No, not at all. Not at all. On the Portland side, Dame Lillard is 9K on FanDuel still and at 13% ownership. He is my number one point guard for today. Whiteside is 9,600 on FanDuel. He is my number two center. He is at 3% ownership. I don't mind getting to a little bit of Melo at 5,300 or Trevor Ariza at 4,600. But right now, my focus, Dame Lillard, Hassan Whiteside, both guys on FanDuel. Less so on DK.
What about on DK?
On DK, Lillard is 5% owned. That's the highest number from the Blazers. I don't mind Lillard at all, but on FanDuel, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
I'm giving him 36 minutes.
Yeah, 90. He should. He played 32 minutes in that first game. He would have probably played even more than that. That game developed into a blowout, and he didn't play towards the end. So I would have expected him to play a little bit more. I had him in for 35 minutes in that game, to be honest with you, and he was on pace for it because the bench was emptied with 3.5 minutes to go. So he was on pace to play 35 minutes in his first one back. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays 37 minutes today. He's great, man. He's great. It's just the only difficulty. Well, I guess one of the questions, and I'll ask you this, on DraftKings, Trey Young right now is 9,900. And this is what I'm talking about with just saying there are good players that might not be getting ownership because of guys like Trey Young.
Yeah.
Trey Young is currently at top 5 projected ownership. Damian Lillard, you've got to scroll down the 5%. They're $200 separated. Does that say anything to you?
Yeah. So I think that Trey Young is the better play. If you tried to take an optimal lineup or something near it and Trey Young was in it, that is the first spot where you can just be like, I'm going to switch Trey Young to Damian Lillard. Like that is the natural. If you're looking to play like a single entry lineup and you take something that's pretty chalky, Trey Young to Dame is like the perfect move. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. Those type of moves right there. And a guy in Lillard who could easily go for 70, like no problem against Phoenix. Those are the type of spots that I think could make a huge difference on tonight's slate.
You and I are on the exact same page.
And if you wanted to say Whiteside over Vooch, $200 difference, I don't hate that. But I don't like it as much as getting to like a Lillard over Trey Young in tournaments where the ownership disparity is massive.
So is this. Vooch is 20. Whiteside is 2.
I know.
I mean, like, I get what you're saying. Like, I would prefer. I think Lillard's upside is bigger than Whiteside's, and I think the other two are comparable. But like, that's another spot where if you have an extra $200, just go from Vooch to Whiteside.
It's doable.
Yeah. Easy pivots.
Yeah, Portland makes for maybe the most interesting team in tournaments because of that reason tonight.
Yeah. Favorite play in this game?
Like, it's got to be Booker, but Baines is going to get the minutes too.
Yeah. I mean, it's Baines, but that's kind of like a cop-out answer. He's the flat minimum and should be expected to be the starting center and like need to play because of Whiteside.
Man, the Booker and Whiteside thing is really, really fascinating because that could change so much. But
for sure.
We'll see.
Closing it out, late night hammer, and man, oh man, is this an awesome game. LA Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks. Note the line, and I want to make sure that it hasn't changed first before I say it. I don't think that it has. Can't imagine why it would have, but I want to look anyway just to be sure. Now it has. It has moved. From what I had originally. 1 point. Yeah. Well, I had it the other way.
Oh, you had Lakers -1?
No, it is Lakers -1. I had
Bucks
it went back.
And now it's Lakers -1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Lakers 1.5 point favorites at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. If you're curious as to how good Milwaukee is, there's your answer. They are almost favorites in LA. So if you're thinking, if the Bucks play the Lakers in the finals, the Milwaukee Bucks are your favorites. And like not close. Anyway, Lakers, big time pace up spot. This is two of the best defenses in the league. As far as the Lakers go, this is two guys and two guys only. AD and LeBron. I lean slightly to LeBron on FanDuel because of the position than AD. I greatly prefer AD on DraftKings over LeBron, who's $1,100 cheaper. Is there any... And I'll take LeBron on SuperDraft where he actually gets the 1.05 multiplier. Anything you want from the Lakers that isn't AD or LeBron, and then rank them.
No. Anthony Davis is getting ownership because of his price point coming off that huge game against the Sixers. No issues with him there. But I don't see myself getting to LeBron. If you're saying if we're ranking these guys, I'd put AD over LeBron. I don't have anybody else from the Lakers. It's a 10-game slate. Nothing at all stands out. And from an ownership standpoint, you got to scroll down to 0.8% to get the next highest owned Lakers player on this slate.
Yeah. I'm just not interested in Lakers. That's for sure. AD at 9,800 is wild.
I think Giannis is a really interesting play today.
I prefer Giannis to both of those guys from the Lakers.
So do I.
11-1 on FanDuel. He is my number one small forward. 11-2 on DraftKings. I've got him 23rd overall. Technically speaking, one spot behind AD, who I have at 22nd. I don't mind a little bit of Brook Lopez at 5K on FanDuel. Just the way that the Lakers are set up. I mean, him playing more minutes would not be shocking at all. I guess a little bit of Eric Bledsoe wouldn't suck for 5,700 on DK. And I like Giannis more than I like both AD and LeBron on Super Draft. Talk to me about the Bucks.
Well, right now you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo projected for 8.8% on DraftKings. This is a guy that averages almost 2 fantasy points per minute. I know it's not the greatest matchup. I get that. It's a tough spot against the Lakers. But how much does that really matter? This is not an easy player to defend. And would you rather have Giannis in an amazing matchup against the Hawks or in a matchup like this against the Lakers? I'd take this matchup because he might play 28 minutes against the Atlanta Hawks. There's a chance he plays more than 35. He played 35 against the Hornets in that close game. He played 38 in regulation against Toronto just a couple around 10 days ago. So there's no doubt in my mind that Budenholzer will run him out there for big minutes right now in a huge, marquee matchup against the Lakers. Just consider this for a second. For DraftKings, he's averaging on the year 1.97 DraftKings points per minute. It's insane, right?
It's so ridiculous.
Let's just say he played 35 minutes at that clip is 69, almost 70 fantasy points, and that's assuming he has his average game.
Dude, he's just on a different level. Like,
yeah.
In the last 30 days, he's at 1.8 FanDuel points per minute. That's 0.3 of a point more than LeBron.
Yep. So if he gets the same minutes as LeBron and the same minutes as Davis, it's not even a question.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I prefer Giannis. And on FanDuel, I don't even think it's like all that close.
I prefer Giannis on both sides.
I prefer him to AD on DK, but it's close because
the 9,800
1,400 is a lot of money.
It is, but
that's $1 million for every person in the United States.
Easily the dumbest thing said in 2020. Not even close.
Like, if that could be true, that person would do it. Do you understand the goodwill that you can buy for that? But there's a reason because it's trillions of dollars.
It's insane. Okay. It's the dumbest thing ever. And we got to witness it. I think you need like 32 trillion or something, $3.27 trillion. Just ridiculous. So dumb.
Favorite play in this game, Giannis, correct?
Oh yeah. I really like him today. Dude, 8%. Yeah. If I'm projecting him for way more minutes than usual, how do I not get to that?
Why is Katie calling me right now? Hold on. Talk for 1 second.
Well, I mean, we're done. Could have just signed off.
No, I'm not going to sign off. She's here. She's downstairs.
Oh.
She just messaged me in G-Chat. Like,
well, is everything okay?
Yes. She told me she's going to run an errand. I have no idea.
Come on, Katie. Get it together.
Honestly. Top plays on DraftKings. Go. Josh looks like Officer Doofy from Scream. That's fair.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to throw Giannis into the mix. Really do like him. Aaron Baines, you have to. Saric is interesting, but I don't love 31% owned Saric at all. TJ McConnell, especially if Oladipo sits. Trey Young, Booker, DeRozan. Look, all of these guys are your top projected owned guys, and many of them for good reason. I do understand that, but they're still very good plays. We agreed that, Augustine is a very popular spot. It's an easier one to get away from. We didn't talk about this, but Saric to me is a little easier to get away from, but I love Vooch. Carter Williams is a per minute guy. I like him. Karis LeVert. God, it sucks that I love all of these very popular players, but that's why I keep coming back to Giannis here at single digits.
On FanDuel, turns out she was talking about depositing checks, which I've already done. FanDuel at point guard, Dame Lillard, Aaron Holiday, Markelle Fultz, and we'll lump Trey Young into that as well. Shooting guard, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Terrence Ross, Karis LeVert. Small forward, Giannis, Juancho Hernangomez, LeBron. Maybe a little James Ennis if you're feeling freaky. Power forward, Aaron Gordon, Bam, Jason Tatum. Don't sleep on Trey Lyles. Center, Vooch is obvious. Everybody else kind of looks similar, but 3% owned. Hassan Whiteside is criminal. Wendell Carter looks like a decent value option. And we are done. 10 up, 10 down with the stash.
Nice. By the way, I should mention Lillard on DraftKings. We got into that a little bit, but could be one of the best tournament pivots out there today.
100% agree with you.
Let's
see you get all those guys in a lineup, Josh. Yeah, I will. They'll be my highest exposed guys. I know how this works.
By the way, that week starts today. Okay. Just so we're clear.
I'm not shaving it off one way or the other, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right, fine. Hey, I'm just stating the rules.
I won't be clean shaven next Friday.
You won't or you will?
I won't.
Okay.
I have nothing to care about now. It's never going to look any dumber than this, and I'm already okay with it.
Can you try growing a little something down here with it?
The soul patch?
Yes, with the mustache.
No.
Okay. That's where you draw the line.
I mean, it's not like I'm drawing a line, but I'm not just going to shave everything else and just grow out the soul patch.
You'd look dumb as shit.
I couldn't look dumber.
You could.
Final chance, everybody. Hit that like button. We're only at 350 of 730. If we can get that to 400 right now, I will do nothing else but thank you. Josh sits in that room for 16 hours a day. He's good. Yeah, no. Certainly don't.
Lo and behold, or believe it or not, we do have some lives at times.
I'll be going out tomorrow, today.
Josh of Los Angeles says, don't get why he needed a barber for that. He didn't, but he had to go. But when you're taking a punishment like that, you're going to try and make it, less torturous, the least torturous as possible.
What? Like, I'm not the first person that created getting a shave.
No, they've been doing that stuff since, the early 90s.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The chair that he shaved my face. Yeah, the early.
Not
90s.
The early 90s, by the way.
1890s. The chair that he shaved me in, he said was from 1910.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's full of shit.
I was old as fuck, man. It could have been like way more comfortable.
Yeah, right. Like, do you have one from 2018?
Yeah, do you got a massage chair that does all the cool shit to me? Anyway, it's not important. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Shout out to Super Draft for being the presenting sponsor. We're going an extra 30 minutes tonight on Live Before Lock, so tune in. Lofty, anything else?
Great show, man. You're good. You're a good sport. Looking good, dude. It could be worse. Could be worse.
Certainly could.
Couldn't be any better for me, though.
It couldn't be any better for me. I look fantastic, and I know it.
And by the way, thanks. Who was it with the $50 super chat? Manny C.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Congrats again on that win.
And be sure to stay tuned 4 years from now when Zion Williamson becomes a first-team All-NBA player, and we get to see his face tattooed on Laffy's butt.
Not gonna happen.
That's it, guys. Best of luck. We'll talk to you later.